Hello, everyone. Welcome to this episode of the Bold, Unstoppable Woman's Show. I am Dr. Rochel Marie Lawson, known as the Queen of Feeling Fabulous, and we are going to have a phenomenal conversation today as we enter the final stretch of the presidential race. It's gonna be, it's gonna be amazing. So, with the election just around the corner, the Bold Unstoppable Woman Show examines the intensity and implications of the final stretch in the countdown to decision, the final stretch of the presidential race. This episode captures the essence of the political climate, the last minute strategies by the campaigners, the role of the media and the public sentiment as we approach decision day. Engage with our panelists, and you can feel free to put any comments in the area, the chat area. But engage with us as we discuss what to watch for, how to stay informed, and the importance of every vote in what may be one of the most significant elections in modern history. So today I have three phenomenal panelists, and I'm not sure what's going on, but someone had some feedback. So I'm going to ask you to mute yourself. And I'm not really sure what's going on, but we'll work it out. We have one more panelist joining us, which is Dee Grey. Hey, Dee. And so let's start with the introductions. Rone de Beauvoir. Let's have you tell the watching audience about you.
Welcome, and thank you for having me. My name is Rone de Beauvoir. I am French and also American. I've lived in more than 40 countries, a year, 2-3 years in all 40 of those countries. I'm the founder and CEO of Excel Crypto Partners, which is a fintech startup. We focus on helping and enhancing the life of the unbanked around the world, and we provide them biometric IDs digitally captured on their mobile phone or tablet so that they can live the life that you and I live. And I'm very happy to connect with all you, my sisters. I'm looking forward to a great discussion.
Fabulous. You know, we must be on a hot topic because everything is blowing up. Everything. So sorry, y'all. Okay, Olga. Let's have Olga Nesterova introduce herself.
Thank you, and thank you, Dr. Rochel, for having us. Thank you for putting this wonderful panel together. I so look forward to connect with all of you. And my name is Olga Nesterova. I'm in New York City, but I'm a White House correspondent for Honest Network. I founded Honest Network as an independent source of media that is delivering what we call actual news, that we do not add any editorial part to it. So every night we send people a newsletter that is we go live, we report on the White House, the State Department, Pentagon, NATO, and everything beyond. As for me personally, I'm Ukrainian-born U.S. citizen. What is happening worldwide is it's very close to home, literally, for me. So I do understand this election is very, very important. Look forward to hearing your opinion and having a discussion. So thank you for having me.
Fabulous. All right, Felicity Harley.
Yes, nice to see everyone and to be on the show. I was formerly the CEO of the World Affairs Council of Connecticut, and I am pretty well informed in the foreign policy area and have met a lot of interesting people when I was in that role, such as Nancy Pelosi and others. I am currently retired from there, and I write science fiction. My science fiction is very focused on the current political issues that I then put in the future. And I'm very, very concerned about climate change. That is something that I write passionately about and I've just finished a 5-book series, and I'm very happy to be having this discussion because I have a lot of interest in politics as well. Thank you again.
Fabulous. Ladies, I'm going to ask, if you're not speaking, can you mute yourself? Because we are getting some feedback. So I want to make sure it's as clear as possible. Thank you. Now, Ms. Dee Grey, our last panelist for this evening.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. I am Dee Grey. I am a trans woman from the state of Utah in the United States. I previously ran for office here in the state of Utah. I have ran a nonprofit focused on helping organizations create expectations for inclusivity across the entire organization. And currently I am like Felicity, but I'm at the beginning of writing my book. But I'm writing a book that will help trans individuals understand their experience through a process called narrative therapy, where the audience will be able to actually choose, much like the old Choose Your Own Adventure books. I don't know if anyone here used to read those fun books way back in the day, where you get to kind of choose what happens to the character as they go through the book to see how they respond to different kinds of worlds. Because I'm a huge believer in systems thinking, which is what's really gotten me into politics, is the understanding that we are outcomes of our society and the world that we live in. And so by
Perfect. Thank you, Dee.
I'm
sorry to cut you off, but
No
30
worries.
seconds. Because I want to get into this fabulous discussion we're about to have. So ladies, what I want to ask you with the first question is, with the last minute campaign strategies that we've been seeing all over the television and, just about everywhere, the first question for the panelists, and feel free, whoever wants to take it first, and then we'll just expand upon it, is what are the key strategies the candidates are using as they approach the final days of the campaign, and what are your thoughts behind those strategies? Olga.
I can't wait for the election to be over because I covered the White House. I'm personally in the press pool with President Biden, with Kamala Harris. That's who I surround myself with, or they surround themselves with us. And certainly our administration. The thought of covering Trump causes anxiety for me. So that just to put it lightly, right? And I'm from New York, so I say it as I mean it. And I grew up in Germany. I'm a former diplomat, so for UN, I can tell you a thing. Now, let's talk about Trump because it's most vivid. The main strategy is gaslighting. It's projecting whatever is happening there, Project 2025, that is about to take the rights of every single person on this panel and every single person watching the show. That is what's meant to be. Now, Trump with the talk about genitalia, with the photo ops, with the overture, Bibles and the sneakers and the McDonald's fry show, all of that is a gaslighting, is for the media to pick up on this peep show and to talk about it. So we miss out on the information that we need to consume, which are the rallies with Kamala Harris, with former President Obama, with former President Clinton, with Tim Walz, who are nailing day by day, talking about the economy, about small businesses, about women's rights, about reproductive rights. So while Kamala Harris tries to lay out literally the plan and let the public meet her because she's a VP, she was not in the spotlight, which is normal, right? Anybody who's familiar with a civics course, they know what VP does and what VP doesn't. Meanwhile, Trump has absolutely no information. I can't tell you what his policy is. Maybe we should ask Elon Musk and the Silicon Valley crowd that pays for it. So that's my 2 cents, and I give it up to you.
Okay, does anybody else want to make a comment on that question? Go ahead, Dee.
Yeah,
I will.
Oh,
Go ahead, Rone.
okay.
You go first.
Felicity, you want to go? It's okay. I can
No,
wait.
no, you go first and then I'll do it. Yeah, no problem.
Okay. I completely agree with Olga. I do not find any substance in Donald Trump. everything that he has expressed, we all know are lies. And I'm like you, I find it very challenging just to listen to the man open his mouth. I think she's right. The gaslighting is a way to deflect, to redirect everyone from what positive, strong strengths that Kamala has in this election. This man is in a McDonald's. So bloody what? He's never done it before in his life. So if he really cared about people of that lower social economic status, he would have done something about it. Listen, anybody that tells me to drink bleach in order to heal myself from a disease can drop you know what. And that's all I have to say about it. I don't think the man is mentally capable. I don't think that, when I listen to these Republicans, this Christian nationalists, and by the way, I'm Christian, but when I listen to these people blame God and say that God has appointed him, so you mean that Lord kicked the devil out of heaven for his astronomical ego, but he's allowing Trump? I don't agree with that. I do not believe that God would appoint the devil any more than he's appointed Donald Trump. If you do not have a heart for humanity, you're from hell. Voila.
Oh, go, Rone. Go, girl.
It's
All
real
right,
talk.
Dee. Right?
It's real
Exactly.
talk.
Dee,
I came here to be real. And I bless you, doctor, for allowing me and choosing me to come here. I have been bloody waiting to regurgitate on this man. I remember Jan Brewer slapping the face of President Obama at the time. Just give me 5 minutes on my podcast with Donald Trump. He evades the questions. He does not answer the questions. These Haitian people are eating cats and rats, according to him, as much as you and I are. The lying, the deceit, the deception, the misdirection. The Bible says, truth crushed to the ground shall rise. And the truth is rising up. Now, like Walt said today that his VP, and then he named the VP, pick Elon Musk, jumping around on the stage like a stupid blah blah kid. He spoke truth. I think that Mr. Waltz needed to show the American people that he can be a hard butt, because everybody was saying he's too soft when he did the debate. He agreed a lot with J.D. Vance. That kind of behavior is from hell. Let's be real. Somebody else can run with it.
Well,
all right, Felicity, go ahead.
Well, I'm going to be a bit more serious, and I'm sorry that she can't get the message over about inflation, because to think that Trump could solve inflation infuriates me. I see these very simplistic ideas about, for some, with people on the news, that they believe that inflation can be solved. And I need to say to them, the corporate community is responsible for inflation. They are the ones that set the prices. They are the ones who will continue to gouge you. And Trump is at the head of that long line of corporate gougers. So I get extremely angry. I was walking today, and in my neighborhood, there was a sign that said, "Jesus is my savior and Trump is my president." I had a very hard time not walking up to that door, banging on it and saying, "Are you crazy? Do you know who Jesus is?" To compare, I am not a Christian and I am not particularly religious. However, I do admire Jesus. I do admire, if there was a Jesus, and I like the historical Jesus, what Jesus had to say has nothing to do with Donald Trump. And it's infuriating to me. So that is it. But it's also Kamala's sort of backed down a little bit on the Roe versus Wade issues, I think. And then I think Gaza is a big tripping point for them. They will not address it. I don't know what will cause them. I have this faith that if she gets into office, she will finally say, we are going to have a ceasefire and you're not getting any more weapons until we do. So that is my 2 cents on where I am. And I'm happy to hand over the microphone.
Just a little thing on Gaza. There was a letter that Blinken and Secretary Austin wrote.
Hold on. Let me get into the next question, okay? Because I want to give Dee an opportunity to speak as well. So the next question is with regards to, I think we're all in agreement that, and I can't speak for Dee because she hasn't spoken yet, but I think we're all in agreement that the former president has no plan. He's, spreading lies. He will take away a woman's right to choose. And it to me, it doesn't matter if you're pro-life or pro-choice. As a woman, we should be able to choose to do whatever we want to do with our bodies. That's very near and dear to me because I am also a registered nurse and I serve, I don't want to say serve time, but I spent my background in emergency room trauma and having to deal with young ladies that were raped, in the process of aborting their fetus naturally, and needed to have the fetus extracted in order to save their lives. It's a huge thing. And so for me is, if we can't tell men what to do with their bodies, i.e. the erectile dysfunction medication that allows them to continue to procreate way up into the late ages when they shouldn't be having any children, then what gives a man the right to tell a woman that we don't have a right to choose to do whatever we want to do with our body? So I'm in total agreement with what we're talking about here, ladies.
Perfect.
And now I want to move into this question. How has the media's coverage shaped the public's perception of the candidates in these last few weeks? And Dee, I'm going to let you start with answering this question.
I think we're seeing a whole lot of what we saw last time. The media makes a lot more money when it presents a particular horse race, right? When it presents this as, hey, everyone, they're neck and neck. And so they have to then, anytime there's something that's bad that's happening with Donald Trump, they have to also try and produce some sort of story for the other side as well. And so I think that's the core of what they're trying to do now, is make it so that people open up their browser and watch and read and click. And so I think the media is still not reporting the accurate views of the American people. I think trans issues, I'm going to stick on those a little bit because they're near and dear to me.
Right.
We keep seeing reports over and over again that the majority of Americans do not want trans people to lose their rights. They want trans people to be able to have access to healthcare, to have access to bathrooms, to be able to join sports. They want these things, sometimes up to 80%. But yet the attacks still happen, and the reports aren't on the fact that Americans want trans people to have access to this. The reports are, what do you think, Tim? And what do you think, Trump? Right? And so I think that's still shaping, and they're going to be responsible for a much closer race than we should have at this point.
I agree. Anybody else want to comment on that question? Olga.
When I'm at the White House at the press briefing room where we work when the press briefing is not happening, I see Fox News editing videos of making President Trump look like he is fainting and he is falling or he's sitting down or whatever. And I'm asking those guys, saying, why do you do that? And they're like, that's our job. That's what we paid to do. And so what media plays as a role, first of all, media, and I consider myself an independent from, let's say, mainstream media. When we talk about, let's say, cable news or whatnot, And it's not just Fox Entertainment. They claim to be entertainment in court, so I'm going to refer to them as such. And CNN and MSNBC. Media kept Trump relevant. He lost in 2020. Why are we still having him as a candidate? Why is he relevant? Why is it 50-50? And Dee, I absolutely agree with you. How do we know if those polls are even real, right? How can it be real if we have fascism versus democracy running, right? And it's 50-50 in America, the world, the country of opportunities. So what media does is keeping him relevant, because clickbait makes money, and the breaking news is usually broken news, and actual news are very difficult to find, which prompted me to stick with actual news. And when especially the movement to let President Biden step down and pass the torch situation, they picked up on Biden so much. Where is that coverage of mental incapacity of Donald Trump?
Right. I agree.
One question. So
he really is spreading rhetoric, and a lot of the things that he's saying is very similar to what Hitler did, back in his reign. Just craziness. And when you ask Donald Trump about a particular issue, he does not answer the issue. He cast it out on the other candidate, Kamala, and tries to find fault with her. The problem is she's smarter than him, and she's very savvy in what she does and how she answers, and he can't compete. He's a man used to having his way with women, so to speak, even if he has to pay them off. And so, when you come across a smart woman and then she's a woman of color, oh my gosh, he's losing his mind. So it's just very interesting with regards to him. But I want to jump into the next question, ladies. Now, I want us to discuss the importance of voter turnout and mobilization efforts, because I think this is hugely important. What still needs to be done with regards to engaging the voters and making sure everyone gets out to vote this election?
Well, I think they need a strong on-the-ground effort, which the Democrats have shown that I think to us that they have. Trump has engaged Elon Musk to do his on-the-ground organizing in Pennsylvania, which I think is a fatal mistake on their part. The guy knows nothing, and this is ridiculous. So hopefully that will really, really help us in terms of having a very good ground game in Pennsylvania and around. I think if people can, what I would do, drive to Pennsylvania and drive people to the polls, call, write letters. That's what I do, because I'm not in a contested state. So I feel confident the Democrats do have a good ground game.
Great. Rone,
ladies, I'd like to share something with you that, yes, I've been talking a lot with the volunteers and people who are involved directly with these elections. And I want to share with your viewers a tip that voters don't know. And I don't know why it's not being put out mass quantity, I guess is the right word, for lack of a better one. But when voters go to vote, those of you who are watching, here's a tip you need to know about. We all know the Republicans lie and cheat. They cannot win honestly on a platform of truth. We have seen that since Trump has entered into politics. So they go and they lie and say things. Nobody will convince me that if Donald Trump calls Rathenberger and say, I need to find 11,700 votes, because he knows he lost. He knows he needs that to win Georgia. What Republicans have set out to do here in Texas and other states, if you show up to vote and you are wearing vote on your shirt, if you are a Democrat and you're wearing a blue shirt, not if you're Republican in a red one, but they are attacking people of color who are making statements with whom they're voting for. And you know what they're doing? They're blocking them from entering into vote. So the tip that I want to give your viewers, do not show up. Show up like you're going to church. Show up like you're going to a graduation. Do not wear vote on your clothes. Do not wear the color that you're voting for, especially if you're Democrat. Don't show anything that shows favor to Kamala. And whatever you do, don't wear anything that says Kamala Waltz at all. You will be rejected at the door. This is what's happening widespread right now.
Wow. Thank you. You guys like the listening, watching us, pay attention to this because it's for real, for real, for real. And I think in some of these states, they will do anything possible, legal or illegal, to make sure that that particular candidate, AKA Donald Trump, will get that state's majority of the votes. So pay attention to what Rone just said. Go in a non-biased color and be able to cast your vote. Because if you show up in either or, you may not get through the door. And so I want to jump into the next question because we have a lot of stuff happening, and as it gets closer and closer, it's gonna get downright ugly. He doesn't play fair. I see him as the bully on the playground, and until somebody stands up to him and knocks him out, like you have to do the bully on the playground, they won't change their ways. And so with regards to what's happening right now, what are the potential impacts of the late breaking news or developments on the election's outcome that the media is kind of skewing with regards to, the candidates? Anybody want to take that? Felicity, Dee?
I'm not aware of what issues you're talking about, but anyone more familiar with?
Here's something. For instance, I saw the other day that Elon Musk was paying people, and willing to pay people a lot of money if they voted for Donald Trump. To me, that should be illegal. He's not in the campaign, I understand, but he is the most wealthiest man that I know right now. And that's almost like bribery. The other thing is with Donald Trump, everybody that had something to do with January 6th are either going to jail or already serving time or whatever, but yet and still he's like Teflon. He keeps getting not held accountable for his actions. And so with regards to these issues, the lies he's spewing about what Kamala says or the words that are being twisted, what do you think is going to be the impact as we move forward in these last 2 weeks with regards to what the media is spinning? And Olga kind of tapped into that earlier. What are your thoughts about that?
I can take on that. First of all, we're not going to know who won on November 5th, right?
Right.
It's going to take about 3 days. Then the next step is, I think, regardless of the outcome, if Kamala Harris wins, which I feel will be, against my 2 cents, please go vote to make that happen. She wins, he will file lawsuits. He already filed a lawsuit today and sent us media a full report that allegedly a Labour Party from the Great Britain is coming here and helping Kamala Harris win. So all of that is already in motion. That's where the Project 2025 comes through. My hope is only that she gets inaugurated on January 20th, MLK Day, by the way, and we're over this, right? I think it will be very turbulent. Media will pick up on everything and anything he says because it causes anxiety. When you're anxious, you seek for channels. You start watching. You're like, oh my God, what happened? That's why every single hurricane is the biggest in history and whatnot, right? So it glues you to TV, and that's what makes money, right? The ads then are paying more, right? The companies are paying more for ads. So it becomes this sort of Super Bowl. So media will pick on anything he says. My question is only, how are Democrats prepared to face that? And Dr. Rochel, to your point, what's DOJ doing? How is Musk jumping around with the belly bout? Okay, fine. How is he offering $1 million to anybody who's signing up, and then you have to knock on doors? How is this legal? Where is the system? Right? And because Musk is not afraid of consequences he will face, right? And he knows that Democrats are believing in law and order. Nobody's going to prosecute him. Kamala wins, we move on, right? If Trump wins, well, he's going to give him a panel, whatever, right? He's going to be part of the government anyway. So for that reason, the risk is low, reward is high, and that's why he's doing it. So my question is, DOJ, you can call, you can write, we all can. This is our responsibility to vote, but also to demand the system to work.
Yes,
Oh,
I
man.
mean, yeah,
Yes.
Musk is
Ladies, if Merrick Garland had started this whole investigation 2 years ago, when Trump first announced that he was going to run, Trump wouldn't be in this position right now.
Exactly.
I fought Merrick Garland. He's too weak, he's too soft, and he's too slow.
I
You
agree.
said something very powerful, in my opinion, Olga. Breaking news is broken news. So I'm going to give you some breaking news that you may not know. I used to work as a foreign, I guess you'd say, diplomat for the U.S. embassies. And I did it in 96 in my home of Paris. Let me tell you something. If you have a cousin, an uncle, a brother, a sister, whoever, who has been to jail or prison and they have a felony, they cannot rent an apartment, they cannot vote, they cannot get a passport, they cannot mortgage a home, they can do nothing because of one thing, the felony. I would like to know, why is it that this orange-faced white man has the right to run for president as a rapist with 34 felonies? And I would say, don't worry about him losing and then filing lawsuits. The bloke ain't gonna have time for it. Let's not forget, he's got to face his, what do we call it in English? Trial, November 11th. Now look, if a bullet is not gonna take him out, I guarantee you the court will. There is no reason for the Supreme Court, who are just as jacked up as he is, to allow this man to get in office and then run amok like the devil and do whatever he wants to.
Hold on, Renee. Hold on. So, to me, you made a point. A felon, I thought in the United States, a felon couldn't run for the highest office. I mean,
that's my point.
So how is
That's
it that
my point.
he's been convicted and yet he's still able to run? And I don't understand how that has happened in our country of the United States.
because the Constitution doesn't specify that a felon can't run, because probably those guys who wrote it didn't think that a felon would ever try and run. So it didn't seem in the realm of possibility. They had in no way imagined the red-faced, orange-haired man that you described. Yeah.
Well, he is an orange face.
Look, ladies, we
He's
are on
orange face.
but I want to ask you if we could just go for about 5 more minutes, because I think the conversation is powerful, it's insightful, it's informative, and we're very passionate. And I don't care if you're Republican or Democrat, particularly when it comes to what's going on. First of all, if you're a Republican, I don't know how you can support Donald Trump. I really don't. I know there are some people that are turning and shifting away, but in the heart of hearts, if you look at the Constitution and how the founding fathers set up things, and I don't think they ever, they weren't perfect either. Don't get me wrong. They weren't perfect. However, I don't think they could have ever envisioned that hundreds of years later, we would have a man like him, who is a philanderer, cheat, bankrupt, bad business person, rapist, sadist. His own wife doesn't even support his values or his stance on a woman's right to choose. And so if you have this, my grandmother always told me, and she was born and raised in Houston, Texas. She said, if there's dissension in the hen house, there's chaos, and eventually there's going to be demise. And so when I look at Donald Trump and his wife, there's dissension already. There's going to be chaos. And as we see, there's just going to be more and more trouble. I think he's getting more and more delusional, and it's showing. I mean, it's showing. So it's just, as an American and a woman of color, of course, every candidate is not perfect. They all have some stuff. Kamala did some stuff in California as well. But with regards to that, I think she has a genuine heart to represent not only the United States, but to stand true in the American Constitution and bring forth the truth and the justices that were written in the Constitution.
Look at her resume. She's got a much better resume than most people who run. She's got a better resume than Biden. She's an amazing person. Yeah. Women in office are amazing. Their resumes are very strong and much stronger than their male counterparts.
Yes.
And you can look at J.D. Vance. His resume is appalling. He scares the hell out of me. We're talking about Trump. Vance is waiting in the wings with a resume that is so utterly unqualified that it is scary. And then you've got Peter Thiel behind him, who is also an extremely scary man. And so, probably their idea is Trump will get in there. Somehow he'll drop, have some major incident, and they'll have J.D. Vance as their savior. And let me tell you, Vance is a lot smarter than Trump, and a lot nastier. And yes, I'm just saying, he scares me very much.
He scares me too. Oh man. Okay, last question, ladies. With a reflection on how significant this election is for the future of the United States, we know there are huge stakes involved. So I would like each one of you to take one of the stakes that you believe is huge and address the American public with information and education about this one particular huge state that you feel is imperative that the public knows about. And if you can limit it to about 45 seconds, that way everybody can get in, that would be wonderful. Who wants to go first? Let's start with you, Dee, because you've been pretty quiet. I mean, you know, you're sitting that girl. Come on now, you got a whole transgender community, and I think it's very important that you give that transgender community a voice here on this show so that people can understand what is a significant thing for the transgender community when it comes to this election.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to speak specifically to Pennsylvania. They've been really in the news recently and a big focus. But I want to say that that idea of the transgender community and the attacks that have been happening against the transgender community, the fears that have been instilled, these are not different tactics that have been used in Nazi Germany. And I want to liken and kind of bring everyone's attention to the old poem, the first they came for the socialists, and I didn't stand up for them. And I want to point out really quickly, this was not an exercise in creative writing. This was someone's lived experience. He was part of the Nazi Party, and he watched as the Nazi Party came into power, how they first got rid of the socialists, and then they continued to move through the ranks, getting rid of any sort of opposition. And then they came for him. When he pushed back on a particular policy, they threw him in jail. And this was his letter to the world in jail, that by the time they came for me, I had no one to support me. I had no one else to stand up for me. And that's what we're really talking about.
Right.
If we're allowed to see the destruction we see in Palestine, and we're allowed to see the attacks that we see on the transgender community, these are not 12 steps apart. These are 2 steps apart. These are 1 step apart.
Yep.
That we're going to start seeing true violence from the government on a particular community, and then that will continue to move from community to community.
And Donald Trump has already hinted at that numerous times.
Yeah.
Numerous times. He's even saying it more, the enemy within. And people are saying on his side, oh, he's talking about the illegal immigrants. No, he's not. No, he's not.
Mm-mm.
If you think that, then you better take the wool off your eyes, because he's not talking about the illegal immigrants. And he will utilize the National Guard to do exactly what Hitler did, strategically eliminate people that are dissenting against him. So we better beware. Felicity, do you want to comment anything about what you believe is a stance that the people watching, the American public, should be aware of?
Yes, my big issue is climate change. It's an existential issue. It will affect us all. If you look at what happened in Ashland, or North Carolina, if you look at what happens in Florida, it is an existential issue. The people in Florida should not be voting for anybody other than people who support less oil and gas and more investments in alternative energy and other ways to find energy. So for me, it's climate change. We are in dire circumstances, folks. We are the frog in the pot. The pot is boiling very slowly, and we are going to get eliminated. So we need to be aware of voting only for people who support what Biden has done in his legislation to slow this down. Not enough, but it's something. So that's my issue.
Righty. Olga.
I keep it short. This election, it's fascism versus democracy. It's Fallon versus the prosecutor. It's fear versus freedom. So you decide with your vote. We all decide what country you want to live in. And it's not okay that your daughter or granddaughter will live with less rights than you enjoy. Right? So I totally don't understand women, and I don't understand white women who are standing up for Trump. You are the first demographic that will be targeted. And also for those racist white buffoons who think that Donald Trump will never target you, he is literally mentioning the enemy alien protection act, where this was created to protect white people against the French, also white people. Where is a will, there is a way. So think smart. Your voice is your voice, to quote Kamala Harris, and consume actual news. Get out of the bubble that you were so placed so nicely, where you're all in this breaking fake news and you think the world is going down. Nothing is as bad as they describe, but it's your turn to switch it off and turn on something worth your attention.
Love it. Rone, bring it home.
I would close by saying, think with your heart and your mind. Focus on the economy and the one who is going to make the economy better for you. Focus on the one who is going to make inclusion, as I do in my business, a primary target for you. At the end of all of that, remember this. My father told me this on his deathbed. Man believes in counting numbers. We all should believe in making numbers count and vote. As we say, God bless you and God bless America.
Oh, I love it, ladies. What a powerful, powerful discussion. And there you have it. Yes, we went a little bit over time, but I think at this day and age and at this moment in time, in this moment in history where we have a woman of color running against a man that really is not fit. I'm just going to say he's really not fit. I think it's very important that we pay attention, don't fall into the rhetoric of his campaign. Take a look at the issues. If a candidate can't address the issues and how they're going to deal with certain things, why would you want that person in the office? And for all the rich people out there that are on his side and in his back pocket or think they're in his back pocket, I say, think about your future generations, particularly your future female generations, and let's not go back hundreds of years when it comes to women, because women are the cradle of life. Without a woman, a man cannot be born. And so
right.
I'm just going to say that, and I'm going to leave it there because I could go really deep. But thank you, ladies, so much. It has been a pleasure having you on the Bold Unstoppable show. I think this discussion has been powerful, and each and every one of you contributed fabulously. As I say, the Queen of Feeling Fabulous, you all are fabulous queens. And thank you for taking time out of your evening to be here with me. Let's support each other. Let's stay connected, and let's get out there and spread the word, because we can do it. We just need to educate the ignorant, the stupid, the dumb, and take them out of the darkness and bring them into the light. This is Dr. Rochel Marie Lawson, the Queen of Feeling Fabulous. And I'm saying, go out and vote. Make it count. Make it count. But be wise in your decision. Be wise in your decision. You don't want to pluck your eyebrows out and then realize they can't grow back. You're sitting there with one eyebrow looking like a fool. Go out and vote and be wise in your choices. And until next time, everybody, goodbye for now.